You're listening to Good Reporters Podcast, encouraging you to use your platform and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, because good reporters bring good news. Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Chris Edwards, a.k.a. Young Christ-like on social media, also Good Reporters on social media, and we coming in live with that 50th episode, man. 50. Wow. 50.
That's a lot.
That's a milestone.
50.
Facts.
Cue the music.
I mean,
I don't have music. I'm 50th episode, but we're doing it big, man. As y'all can see, we're out here at a studio doing it different. We're not in my kitchen. We're not in the living room. We're not in my bedroom, but we're in a studio. But you might not know who these people are right here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to talk to the man on my left. This is my boy, KV, rapper, great creator, really talented brother. Also a member of the ADZ. ADZ, that's the rap group that they're in with my brother, who's right here to the right. Be a leader. I could say his real name, but I'm a chill.
Your leader's fine.
I'm a chill.
That's
fine.
fine.
He doesn't
Or
want
just B. Just one letter.
Just one letter, B. That's
B.
what he
He's
likes.
fine.
That's my brother right there. Also, talented creator. They make great music, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here. But more than anything, I'm just excited to have you guys on here for the 50th episode, so give yourselves a round of applause.
Excited to be here.
And thank you for having us here, man. I've seen the work that you've put in, so I'm excited for you, brother. And, you've been doing your thing for quite some time, and I'm very proud of you. So I had to say it on the 50th episode so you people can know.
Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you.
I wish we had the clap button thing, but this works.
Maybe one day, maybe at episode 100,
By 100, all right. By 100.
By 100. But look, right now we're going to talk about this because we did a video before this, and I don't know if y'all see this. We got this sized up right here, the hot sauce. Hot sauce challenge, just like hot ones. And how'd that go, guys? Was it good? Was it good for y'all?
135,600 Scoville units. Wicked beyond belief. Warning. This sauce is extremely hot. Keep out of the reach of children. Consume one drop at a time with extreme caution.
Yo, Chris, you are wow, sir.
Oh, the bomb is one of them. It's one of them.
I'm not gonna freaking lie.
Wow. I don't think I'm gonna be bothered by any of these today.
He's out. Ladies and gentlemen, he's left the building.
We made a mistake. It's not a good day, sir.
I had to let that one out.
Good until the last wing.
Yeah, you feel me? A lot of those, they have some flavor to it. I could rock with some of them, but the bomb.
That atomic bomb right there.
That
The bomb.
atomic
This
bomb,
one,
It's called
the
the bomb.
last one,
that causes
Oh, my.
bodily fluid projectile. Alright? I'm just saying.
Bodily fluid projectile.
It's
That goes
crazy.
crazy.
Isn't that throwing up like vomit? Okay.
that goes
It
crazy.
caused throwing up. It was a movie, to say the least, but I'll let y'all,
my God.
I'll plug that. Y'all go over there to ADZ's page and you check out that interview and see how that went. But today we're gonna talk about this, man. And one thing I really wanted to talk about, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank all the supporters. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for their patience too, for real, because it's been a while. I haven't dropped the episode in about I'll say like 2 months. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. We had a couple plans, things I really wanted to do. I wanted to do it big, but it didn't work out that way. And so it kind of backtracked and it kind of flew into this. And I also suffer from procrastination at times. So please do forgive me. And please do forgive me, but we're here and we're ready to get it going. So what I want to talk about real quick, I want to touch on this with my brother right here. First and foremost, the testimony. I feel like a lot of people know about the brand. A lot of people know who I am, but a lot of people didn't go through the testimony with me like my brother did, like my parents. Like, unfortunately, I didn't know Paul at OKV at that time, but remember that day, bro? Do you remember how it all went? Like how I came to Christ.
Do I remember that day?
You remember that day? It was insane. So I'll let you start it up. Then you could remind people of how that day kind of went, but not necessarily the day I got saved, but what triggered it.
Okay. I remember my dad wasn't really feeling too well, or should I say our dad?
Yeah.
Our dad wasn't really feeling too well.
Could I ask
And,
what year is this? What year?
What was it, 2011? What year did LeBron James? Okay, so here's go.
2010, the summer of
2010?
2010, I believe. Because
Summer-
then 2011 is their first
Is it first year that they went to the finals?
championship. Yeah.
So the summer of 2010, and the reason why you would be able to know this, thank you for pointing that one out right there, is because we were watching LeBron James make that final decision, which, questionable by many, right?
Yeah.
At
Not
this
by me,
point.
though.
Not by me. Hey, man. That
You
was
good,
a
bro. You good.
great decision you could have made, my brother. They burned them jerseys, then they cooled them off.
Right.
But we watched LeBron James make that decision in the midst of everything that was going on, and it was absolutely insane. And
Right.
honestly, for everybody, they have a sour taste in their mouth, but for that one, that day was like the craziest day for me, sports world and family wise.
That didn't really, like, LeBron going to the Heat that day, as much as of a LeBron fan as I am, it wasn't the most important thing that day for us.
It wasn't
So,
the biggest news. It
yeah,
wasn't
that,
the biggest
that day
news.
I was watching that in the hospital, in the waiting area while my dad was having surgery.
Right.
So that's how I remember that.
Craziest day.
And my
ever.
phone is going crazy. Everybody wants to talk about LeBron,
Yep.
and I don't want to talk about LeBron right now.
Not even a thing.
My dad is,
So
in
this
surgery.
is just like a something that just happened. Shockingly, like.
So here goes. So plot twist. So here goes. Like, I'm unsaved. I'm 16 years old. We grew up in a Christian household, right? And my dad, for the most part, he had his health issues and times. Maybe one thing happened to him before, but for the most part, he was good. From our standpoint, anyway.
Right.
And then there was a point where he was just feeling like, really, really bad in his body. Something happened to him. We didn't know what was going on. He was just dealing with it. I mean, but then he, as a man, I guess, sometimes we got a little bit of
hold it down,
pride,
you feel
right?
me?
Yeah, that ego.
That
you
ego
know.
or whatever. And we got up and he just got up and was like, the third day he was like, I'm gonna just go to work. Luckily he worked where a hospital was, so on his way to work, his appendix ruptures. And the appendix ruptures
on the
bus.
bus, I believe.
On the
happened
bus.
on the bus.
And they rushed him to the ER. You had to get emergency surgery, all of that stuff.
Yep.
So
It was a definite scary day, and I was at the point where everybody was going to the hospital also.
yeah.
And I was so hurt by it, I couldn't even get up to go to the hospital. So my cousin came. Shout out to Dee Dee. She came and she ripped a new one for me.
Yeah.
As nice as you could possibly do it. She didn't like curse me out or anything, but she was like, "What's wrong with you? That's your father.
Right.
Go in there." I said, "I can't see him like that. I don't want to see him
That's
like that."
understandable.
That was rough for me. That was like, you see who wants to see your superhero? You don't want to see Superman when he has kryptonite on him.
True.
Facts.
For a fact.
You want to see Superman with the cape flying through the
Through the air, doing his thing.
You don't want to see Superman with
Down.
Yeah, you don't want to see him down. So I didn't want to see my dad like that, and it really like messed me up.
For sure.
But I went the following day and I faced that demon. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It's just that
It was tough.
it's just a tough situation.
Yeah.
In that point in my life, we haven't really dealt with anything
Nothing
like
that
that.
major.
And that's a blessing in itself. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So
But something like you said, it's a blessing in itself to not deal with something like that at that point in our life, not having dealt with anything. But at the same time, it was probably a curse because it hit even harder. Right?
it was tough.
He's still alive. Glory be to God at this point. But at that moment, it was like the hardest hidden thing that ever happened to us. And
It was.
I bring up that testimony because for me, the funny thing about that, what wasn't mentioned was that my dad and I went to church for the first time that week. Like that
Oh,
weekend.
I don't remember that part.
That
So,
weekend, my dad and I. So I was one of those Christians, or excuse me, one of those people who grew up in a Christian household, who was just living his life, and my parents would like make us come to church. Sometimes they'll make us tithe or whatever. Like that was like the extent of it. But there was an aspect where I would be like, I just don't really feel like going to church. So my parents would come in the room, I'd be sleeping, acting like I'm knocked
Fake
out.
sleep.
Fake sleep. You know the fake.
Yeah, we used to do that.
Give me the fake sleep.
We used to fake sleep
That
and
fake sleep was immaculate.
be like, "I'm too tired," so then they'll just leave us
Eventually.
after a while. Eventually, to the point where like after a while, I don't even know when we stopped going to church as a whole.
Yeah.
But I remember after that situation, I know that was a big like emphasis that
was big.
we need to go back.
It was big for me, and like I said, I wasn't really going. But what started to happen was we would go to church down the area by us, and it was okay. It was really boring. I would go to children's church, which was cool. But unfortunately, like when I didn't have children's church, I got too old for that, and I'd be in the area with the older kids and the older people, and it just felt too boring to me.
Talking about the one that
right down the area.
Okay, yeah.
And unfortunately, it was just too boring for me, so I stopped going. If I got the opportunity to stop going, and one day my dad was like, you know what, we should go back to our church, which is Love Fellowship. Shameless plug.
The original one.
The original one where we grew up, where I was going to as a kid.
Baptized in and everything.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we went back, and it was amazing. And I was like, I literally felt like I'm coming back next week. Like, this is happening. There's nothing anybody can do to me. My dad is like, oh, I love Love Fellowship. I always said that. I'm like, yeah, it was so good. Feeling empowered. That Monday, my dad gets sick. He's tossing and turning for 3 days in the bed, and it's just like the enemy to do something like that, right? Or just like life or anything to test us like that. And for me,
Test your faith.
It tested my faith in a way. But what was happening to me was, when it happened to my dad, it could have pulled me further, but instead it pulled me closer because it made me stop and it made me think, where am I going? If my dad goes today, where is he going? You know what I mean? If something happens to him in this moment, where does he go? If it happens to him and I'm still living here, where do I go?
Right.
And it made me stop and it made me think. And for about a month, my dad was in the hospital still recovering. And from that month, I would go back to church every Sunday by myself, and it changed me. That's my testimony. That's the beginning of what good reporters would probably not even exist, if I didn't get saved at 16 years old.
Right. He was really, really, really young. So
I was, when most people would say it's probably too young, and that's my encouragement to you as well, man. If you're young, I'm speaking to you right now. If you're in school, people are telling you, oh, stop that stuff. I'll be reading my Bible. Girls will be like, you really reading your Bible? I'm like, yeah, I'm really reading my Bible. But people didn't like it because I was young. Live your life. Have fun. Have a blast. And I think if I didn't do that at that age, I don't know I wouldn't know how my life would be, to be honest with you. But what I wanted to talk about with this, and I appreciate y'all listening to the testimony, what I want to talk about with this is the dynamic. You know what I mean? Like, KB, you know us. Me and my brother and I grew up. Hey, this is how I'm going to title it. Same household, different result. Right? Where it was like same upbringing, same household. We both had the same experience.
Right.
For me at 16, it took me to a point where I was like, I gotta change something. That led me to finding God. And in that same instance, I was at the church that day, so I guess it also plays a part. And for my brother, he grew up in a Christian household, right? We talk about Jesus, we talk about God, but there's always this aspect where it's like, all right, maybe not now. Right. I want you to talk about that, and I want both for you to expand on it, but right now I want you to expand on that. As a person who grew up in a Christian household, what would hold one back from the church at a younger age, or even with traumatic experiences?
I wouldn't say it held me back, because even maybe like 2 years ago, I had started going back to church by Darkham's church, so I was going over there. What I would say, I feel like for you, your overcoming of that situation was through Christ, right? For me, my overcoming of the situation was even just getting to the hospital, because I couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't like, to me it was like I couldn't see my dad like that. When I went there, and then even mom was putting out the garbage, doing stuff what dad normally would do. Yeah. And she just starts crying breaking down. So I'm just sitting there like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? I really thought, I don't know if dad was going to make it or not. Sure. And if he doesn't, I have to step up to be the man of the house. And, so it was a lot then, right? And I feel like my leap was to just, be able to see him and go to the hospital and, go through that kind of pain. Yeah. But you see, that shows you that in life, no two people get affected the same exact way.
That's a fact.
In my opinion, nobody gets affected the same way. We could all go through the same thing right here, right now. Yeah. And 3 different results.
Different trauma results, yeah.
3 different trauma results. Some people might be like, oh, that bothered you? That didn't even bother me.
I always say 2 + 2 ain't the only way to get 4.
It's not.
Ooh, 4 times 1.
You feel me? There's a million ways to get
8
4 from
divided by
that.
2.
Yeah.
You
So
go into
The
negatives.
square root of 16.
yeah, come on, man. I mean, you're the math. Listen, I still haven't got past remedial math when I was in college. So
I hope that math was right, though. If the math was wrong, man, God be with me. But
I hope it's right for your sake.
yeah, like that. So that's like something I'm thinking about. I like that. I like the way y'all putting that. That no two people are gonna have the same results.
No.
Nothing. And that kind of brings it, I guess, to the open or broader question with Christianity. Like I said, I'm saved. I got saved at 16 years old. But I know that you guys aren't, which is, you know, I mean, life is as life goes. I know some people get saved at 60, some people never do. Some people get saved at 8. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
When it comes to like what you said in terms of like just different life results, or even I'm sure you've had experiences or times or moments in your life where you stop and think like,
Of course.
there's got to be God, or I believe in God, but like, there's got to be. I guess now is not the time for me to pay attention to it, not a time for me to, you know, take it seriously. Like, talk to me about that, like in terms of relationship with God for you guys. Like, what is that?
I've always been a thinker. So I remember one time, this randomly just happened one time, excuse me, the light, my dad used to always turn off the lights when we were younger. We couldn't sleep with the TV on. I couldn't sleep one night, and I'm like 8 or 9, and I'm just sitting there thinking in the dark. And I was just like, I'm going to die one day.
Yeah.
And it was like a super serious, scary moment for me. Because I'm like 8 years old. I'm nowhere near death if I live. If I live to, you know what I'm saying, to like a normal.
Average age.
If I just die by the natural causes,
Right.
I'm nowhere near death right now, right? So I'm sitting here like, I'm gonna die. What if there's nothing when we die? What if there's a heaven? What if there's a hell? But what if there isn't? What if you're just dead?
Yeah.
And, you know, like when you sleep and you're out cold and you don't know. Like I was like, what is that? Like, you know, I'm thinking. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, what put that thought in my head?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that negative thought in my head like that. I don't know, but like, of course, we're human, you know, and or when something bad happens, what's the first thing you do? Please,
Everybody start praying.
Please,
Right?
God. Even if you've never prayed before, you just gonna be, please, God, don't let this happen, you know? So, of course, I've had instances. I've even had instances where I feel like I've had dreams that are just, they're not like, you know, normal. I can't explain them.
Yeah.
I feel like when I ask for something to be answered, sometimes it does in my dreams. Or sometimes I'm like, that's just me. I could be fighting it off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Does it ever cause you to dig deeper? Like in
Sometimes.
relationship with God?
Sometimes. Like there was a point in time, I want to say, like when COVID first started, around that time or right before it, I don't remember. But yeah, when I was going to Darkham Church every Sunday, sometimes they would have like prayer nights and stuff. I would go, and I was really, you know, I found a liking to the church, so I was going. I had fun going. I didn't mind it at all. His pastor was pretty like straightforward. I liked that about him. I was really going consistently. Ask me why I stopped. I have no idea, but to be honest, I was enjoying it. I did. So there's been light there.
Yeah. And we'll expand on that a bit. How about you, KB? What do you think in terms of?
I would say starting off young, I definitely was introduced to the church life, going to church, Sunday school, everything, reading the Bible every night. Literally, like that was something I did regularly. But as I got older, and I would say how things were introduced to me differently, especially different households, it felt more like a task more than something a feeling
Right.
or something. So as I got older and it becomes more of a task, as a child, you start questioning things.
Yeah.
Why? And then when certain things come as to, you can't question that,
Yeah.
that's when rebellion comes sometimes. Because like, everything is ABC. Why can't I do ACB?
Yeah.
Nah, you just can't. And so it's just like, all right, now I have to question everything else before I'm like, all right, this is what I just got to roll with because
it's told to me, it's taught to me.
You feel me?
I
So-
was raised that way.
That
you
makes
feel me?
sense.
You feel me? So for one, I always respect anybody else's
For sure.
feelings on everything. So I've always just been in a place where it's like, all right, I have to still seek everything. I still seek for what may be there, what may not be there. I still look into everything because there's truths in everything. There's lies in everything. There's multiple beliefs in everything. So it's just like when things are presented to me as this is right, everything else is wrong, I start questioning.
Skepticism.
You feel me? I question perspectives because now I'm like, these people that you say this is wrong, they're looking at this as this is wrong, this is right. So now I need to see what they're on. So it's like I can't fully just sit here because if you feel this way about this, they feel this way about that. So it's like now I have to be able to understand both sides to be able to just jump ship and everything. So it was just more of a exploration and seeking it on your own as opposed to how it was given to me as this is life.
Okay. I feel that.
So
I feel like, all right, so let's get real. Besides besides what people tell us and besides what we know, is there anything we could talk about, like, I mean, biblically anyway, that makes it hard to see yourselves just living that lifestyle or like being a Christian? Or is there anything difficult? Is there any, like, be honest? Because, like, for me, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I am a believer. I'm a Christian. I am living a lifestyle. But if it were up to me as a natural human being, this is the honest truth. I hope nobody takes this as a lie or just like, oh, why are you saying that? You shouldn't say that. The honest truth, if it was up to, I think, any human being, I don't think they would say they don't want to fornicate. I don't think anybody would ever say that.
Of course.
I don't know if anybody, maybe some people might be like, cursing is unnecessary. I had a high school teacher who used to say that cursing was like, you know, it weakens your vocabulary, so I get that.
It does.
But he cursed anyway. But I was still, I love the idea of that. But I think if it wasn't up to us, there's certain aspects of it that we wouldn't spend our Sundays. I was about to say waste, but it's not a waste. But we wouldn't use our Sundays on anything other than our rest or things for ourselves or our games or our basketball or.
There's so many distractions.
And then there's people who are going to push you away. So, I mean, at the same time, that might be looking at you saying, are you doing it? So is there anything that really holds you guys back or like pushes you away from believing in that aspect?
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the sex thing is definitely,
okay.
If I would have to be 100% honest, that's really tough. And like you said, there's a false perception that, you know, just because you're a Christian, like, you guys don't do exciting things and stuff. And I see you're my brother. I know you do exciting things. You know what I'm saying?
There's some exciting life, man.
Yeah, my brother's living a better life than me, and I'm not even saved, right? So
I don't know about that.
what I mean by that is, like, he still goes to Knicks games. He travels. There's so many other things you could do other than, you know, sinful things that, you know, like that. We look in the world like, oh, you don't drink, but you don't smoke, you don't have sex. How are you having fun?
Yeah.
And
to be honest, those be the emptiest people.
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, a lot of people that do a lot of things that we look at in society as regular, those are the ones that, like, a lot of people I know that put on like a facade for people, like, oh, I'm doing this, I like this, I'm doing everything. You don't go to the strip club, you boring, man. And it's just like, you're doing it for other people. Do you actually enjoy going to the strip club?
Yeah.
Or do you do it because that's what they say is cool?
I think it just comes back to lifestyle, and to kind of piggyback off of him saying, not just jumping into what other people want you to do.
Right.
At a lot of times, especially at a young age when your brain is way more easier to mold.
Right.
And then it's just like, all right, I need to let this come to me before I say, all right, this is it, instead of I'm being placed in it and saying this is it. Right. So I like to just let a lot of life do its thing, because there's a lot of things we control, but we can't control nature of anything. Like, nature will always win, no matter what, no matter how much vitamins we take, whatever. If we're meant to die right now, we're going to die right now. So a lot of things are just like, all right, let me let life give me this story. Let me let life show me this pathway of things, and not let people try and dictate how they want to see my life come. Instead of, all right, let me live life. Let this come to me. If this is exposed to me, I can accept it for, all right, this is how it should be. This is my opportunity to seek into it, to dabble into it, to understand it, instead of, all right, this is what I was given, this is what I have.
Here's what you got.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people feel that way. I think that's I think a lot of people feel that when they don't know it. That's the scary part. Is
Right.
that a lot of people are raised into Christian households, other religions too. I'm not just talking about Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Raised into traditions, and because of, and there's a scripture that speaks in a sense about that, to raise up a child in a way that they should go, so when they're older they won't depart from it. But I think that there's a careful place in between it as well, where there's people who are just raised up and then they just do it because they believe they should do it,
Right.
and then get lost in the midst of it. I'm a firm believer that questioning, or like at least being aware of what you're doing, why you're doing it, is huge to anything you do.
Right.
Because then otherwise, like one day you might turn around and be like, why am I doing it?
Yeah, I'm just doing it because everybody else.
Because I was told it, and I think it's healthy to be aware of that. I don't think it's healthy to just be like, all right, well, no, since I don't know if it's true or not, just I'm not going to do it. But because I don't quite know why I believe in it, I gotta take a look at it. I gotta see what's going on. And I hear that in both of the responses that you're giving, in a sense, and I'm like, I like it because I like the idea of it. I like the understanding of it, because I feel like it's exactly what you're saying. Like, it's like you want to look at it. However, I also do see the side where it's like me before my dad. The thing happened to my dad where it was just like, I'll let it happen to me. And it did, granted. But again, like we talked about earlier, just because something happens in life that might bring you closer to it, doesn't quite mean it's going to have the same effect on the next person that, you know what I mean? What about evangelism? What do you guys think about that? Like, evangelism is like somebody bringing the gospel to you. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel like the world kind of portrays that to you, or people do it to you?
I feel like they have the right to.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with people trying to, I don't want to say promote. I feel like that's the wrong word to use there.
People trying to get you closer to, or people trying to enlighten you. How about that?
Okay, boom. People trying to enlighten you on their beliefs, or what could become your beliefs, or what other beliefs are out there, I would say, because now it's something they're introducing you to. So I don't really see anything wrong with it. I know sometimes you get on the bus, the train, whatever, and it's just like, here we go.
It's like hell.
You feel me? But it's
hell.
like, you feel me? But it's like, I don't think it should be on some kick them out, get them out. Like, I feel like, because there's still people that be on that bus and train
and get saved,
enjoying it.
Yeah.
You feel me? People vibing out, people praising, people.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
it's true.
I have no problem with that. Like, even if it's a different religion or whatever, if there's people there that's like, oh yeah, this is for me, this is what I'm into, and it's for a good cause, and then I have no issue with it, like, by any means. Like, even when Jehovah may come to doors, and it's like, people want to spread their word, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see no issue with that at all. Of course, you're not going to accept everything. Some things you may wean off. That's just natural life. But I don't really find an issue with evangelism.
Does it impact you? Have you ever felt like anybody bringing, like, because I mean, this is the brand, right? Good reporters bring good news.
Facts.
Good reporters bring good news, and that's what we should be doing, right? Like, anything that you had that was good. If you had, like I said, you guys are musicians. If you guys had some fire tracks and some dope software, and you knew it was like free and everybody can use it, wouldn't you? So like, but has it ever impacted you? Have you ever felt like anybody's ever evangelized to you effectively?
I'm gonna say yeah, because I'm the type of person that if something's true or something's relatable, understandable, I'm gonna accept it, and I'm gonna intake that. Like, wow, this made sense.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm not a part of that. I don't like, if you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
If something makes sense, or if it can sit with me, I'm gonna accept it. Like, wow, that really hit home. That, like, I like that.
Yeah.
I can indulge in that. That would inspired me. That moved me. So I'm gonna say definitely. There's been times where I've heard something. I'm just like, wow, like I could keep listening to this, or I can go home now and I'm gonna go Google this.
Google and look into it. So that's good to know that you're receptive. How about you? Has anybody ever effectively, and evangelism, let's be clear also, it doesn't always have to be words. It could be actions. You know what I mean? Like, just off the years that you guys have known me, I don't know that I've ever forced Christianity into any of your lives.
You really have not. And I always tell people that. They be like, your brother's a Christian? So, like, does he just, like, pray all day and stuff? And I'm just like,
I always known it to be verbal though. I never knew it was like
my
non-verbal.
brother is the.
I mean, you could be an example. You know what I mean? Like Darkim. Well, like, let's say, like, I don't want to give Darkim's testimony. Hopefully, he will be on this podcast one day. But he's been around me for long enough, and when he was going through his darkest time, I believe the hardest thing I was at your event. He was at his event, and he was just going through some stuff, and he kind of just came up to me telling me, like, I'm just dealing with spiritual battles. And it's not because every day, I mean, I talked to him about it. Of course, I try to tell him, but, like, I never, like, you got to go to church. You got to, like, this is, like, what you must do. But he knew because of my lifestyle. He knew because of how I operated. He knew because of how I loved him and try to speak to him about that. He can approach me with a matter
so
spiritually.
Without really giving too much of his situation,
right.
How would you say you gave him that inspiration to do so without making it look like this is what you have to do?
By being an example. He could see that certain things that I do, and that it wasn't me always. You know what I mean? Like, he could see that, like I said, like the self-control, discipline, and all those things. Like, it's cool. We can know everyone wants to have a badge and be like, I've been celibate for this long. I haven't done this. But, like, the reality is we're all human beings. You know what I mean? Like, the reality is we're all messing up. We're all doing things, at times fall short. Excuse me. I say we fall short and aren't great at everything. But at the end of the day, it's just that pursuit. And if you read the word and you pay attention to things that's in the word and you pay attention to what it says, and you see how it starts to come into fruition in somebody's life, and then you're like, I'm doing everything I want to do, and yet I'm empty.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm doing everything I want to do, but yet, like, I just can't feel that happiness or that void or whatever. And, like, he sees me, like, I'm doing everything I need to do, and I'm going through some stuff, and I feel like my world's crumbling. And I've seen you go through so many different things, and you were just solid. How? Like, who, why? And he knows that I believe in God. So I guess that aspect of it was like, all right, and then we could talk. Now it leads to, I mean, because not only just living is just going to work. Like, everybody's like, oh, I'm just going to live righteously and do everything great. And everybody's just going to follow me. Like, no, nobody's probably going to follow you. You know what I mean? But they might inquire. And that's why it's important, like, as the Bible will speak about us being examples, as us being set apart, us being holy, because it's an example to other people that, like, like, you know what I mean? Like, why do they do that? Like, and that's the scary part about it to me sometimes. There's a lot of religions or a lot of faith systems that do a lot of different things. Right. And biblically, like, if we're talking biblically, I can't go too deep into the story because we'll be here all day. But, you know, in the Bible, God has shown up in that way where it was like, you know, these people like, my God is going to do this, my idols, and we're going to do this. And God is like, you know, put this thing there, and then put that thing on fire. And it's like, whoa, like, he's the one true God. People start believing when they see it start coming into fruition. You understand? So I think just dealing with things like how the Bible speaks about going through trials and tribulations, and just the way that you deal with it, not trying to take it into your own hands. I think he saw that and was like,
do you feel like
I need that? Would
you say that whole standpoint can apply to many beliefs and other beliefs?
I think a lot of anything could inspire. I think a lot of anything can go for anything. Okay. And that's, like, so broad a way to say that, right? So let me break that down. I think that motivational purposes can go for, like, motivational purposes. Like, if you just believe, be happy, everything will be good. Think right and think positive, everything's going to work out. There's biblical concepts in it. You understand? But the difference is what we're relying upon. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm saying in my trials and tribulations, I'm trusting in God, not through my trials and tribulations, just stay positive. You understand? So I think a lot of people will be able to see that and be like, oh, like, you know, just keep your head up and you're going to get through it. And for some people, it works. I'm not going to get that twisted. But I believe truly and thoroughly that in the Bible, in the biblical concept, that there's some times where I just can't be positive or happy. Like, I went through a deep depression at a portion of my life, and I just didn't know, I couldn't smile. I was around you guys, and nobody probably even could tell unless I've said it. But I look normal. Everyone's laughing, but I can't feel that.
Yeah.
And I can't speak for anybody else. Like, again, like we said, it doesn't know, who knows how somebody's going to react. But in that time, I mean, through wisdom, through help with other people, but also just through dependence and understanding, I can't depend on myself. Like, I can't just be happy. I can't just smile. Like, I need God because he's greater than I am. And I think that's what changes it from, like, the concept being kind of similar. Like, motivation could be the same as the biblicals. People who don't even believe in God, they like, I like the scriptures, though. I like their laws, so I follow them. But there's a difference when it comes to having to depend on God at the end of the day.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. So, I know we're running out a little bit out of time here, but I want to talk to you guys a bit 'Cause I know you guys make music.
Yeah.
I know you guys have some dope projects, like I said, coming out, already out. And I just wanted to just to hear from you guys about the musical aspect of your lives, the things that you do in the music industry. And like we spoke about with evangelizing, like we spoke about anything, your words have power.
It does.
You know what I mean? Like everything you say, like people gonna listen. Like, you know what I mean? I've used a couple of your captions. I use a couple of your captions on my picture, and another one's coming soon.
Hey.
All right, like, and
Right.
and so I kind of want to talk to you guys about how your words really impact the world, how what you're putting out there really impacts people around you. Speak to me a bit about how you feel about the power of your words musically.
The power of your words.
Yeah. How does it impact people?
It impacts people in a sense because, like you said, like when people listen to music, I still remember lyrics from when I heard a song when I was 7, 8 years old. You know, so this is always gonna stick with you subconsciously.
Yeah.
Even if you're not paying attention, it's gonna be with you, right?
Yeah.
So you want to kind of like enlighten people and motivate them at the same time. That's what I like to do with my music. Like I like to not only like sometimes, of course, making music like rap music is about like being braggy, you know, but at the same time, I still throw my knowledge in there. Like, you know, I tell people your words mean stuff, and you got to watch what you're saying on songs. Also, sometimes your words are really like that strong to me. The tongue is powerful. Isn't there a scripture about that, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
About death and life. Yeah.
yeah, the tongue, you don't use it incorrectly. So I think like when you speaking on a song and you're like, you know, like you said, you Google things when you don't know. I do the same thing. If I hear a word, I'm watching the show, I'm like, ooh, I've never heard that word. I'll look it up so I can know what that word is. Maybe subconsciously it sticks in my mind now. So maybe I'll be having a conversation and I just throw that word out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that incorrectly sometimes.
He be trying
Sometimes.
But
But
like, man, that was incredulous. I'm like, bro, I know you didn't just.
I'm not gonna lie.
Bro.
Sometimes I do use the word, or I just mispronounce it. But that's a part of growing.
Right.
Facts.
I'm willing to use a word, and Chris will not let you ever slide. So
I can't let it down, my brother.
he'll never let you slide. But I like that though, because as I grow, I like to grow my vocabulary. I like to. I don't like to really just use the same everyday words. If I could find a better word for no, I will say a better word for no. You understand? So I like to keep my mind going.
Yeah.
That's just one of the things. But yeah, words they're everything. And you gotta remember we're molding if we blow up, well, should I say when we blow up and people are listening to our music, they're gonna be reciting these words, they're gonna be dancing, right? To our music and stuff.
Yeah.
If I say I'm about to shoot somebody,
that's what they say.
I'm promoting a young kid to want to shoot somebody or at least say it.
Yeah.
I could be their favorite artist. You might say, oh, yeah, my favorite artist shoots people. I don't want to shoot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I'm your favorite artist and I'm inspiring you, go stop buying jewelry. Go buy a house. Stop smoking weed. Go invest in something.
Yeah.
Go on the stock market. Go, you know, if I'm teaching you ways of life that nobody taught me when I was younger, I feel like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to motivate people in what I believe is the right way.
Okay. I hear that. And what about you, KB?
When it comes to words, I like to take an approach of how I'm feeling in that moment. So there may be times where it's like, okay, this was dark. Going back to what he referenced before, like a song I have, Lift. And it's like, okay, this is very dark. But it's like, these are real words.
Yeah.
And a song like that, I've had people personally come to me like, that song saved me. And I'm like, feel me? Like, yeah, I've literally had people tell me like, yo, that song, while I was in a dark time, that song came on and that song got me. And I'm just like, you feel me? It's not even a song that I made like, oh, this is my intention. This was just, how can I be transparent about this situation, this scenario? Boom, let me put it on
off
wax.
your chest, man. You'll be surprised how many people go through what you go through.
You feel me? And let me just put this on wax. This is a record that I made with the other artists. We just on FaceTime going back and forth, venting off.
Nice.
And then people like, yeah, this record really did something. So it's like, there'll be records like that. There may be a record where I say something very irrational, and it's like, whoa, this is not what I usually know from KV, and it's like, this is how I felt.
Yeah.
This is something might have happened to me where it's like, now I'm telling you the truth of how I really felt. I can't really suppress every emotion because that wouldn't really be very human of me.
Yeah.
Even if I may never say it in a regular casual conversation, the music is the outlet where it's now like, damn, we know you in real life to not express this, but now I can hear you using your words here. It's like, I feel more comfortable with the situation if I go through it or something else. So I know the power of words. I know sometimes words can be very rash. I could say something and like a family member could be like, whoa, like, I don't like that line or something. It's just like, it's real though.
It's real.
Yeah,
You feel
man.
me? Like,
Doesn't matter at the end of the day.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day. So it's like, it's real. I'd be lying to you and every listener if I suppress this line.
Yeah, tell me what to write in my
me?
diary, man.
I've had records where I've harsh at family, and it's like second guessing, like, oh, these are harsh words. But it's like, if I don't get these words out, how harsh will I be on myself? True. So now where people hear those records and it's like, wow, I didn't even know this was a situation that you had going on. And so it's like, now I feel like relieved in my situation, or I feel like, wow, this really moved me. I always go back to this record when I feel like this. So I know the power of words, and that's why we love what we do.
Love that, man. Love that. Yeah, words are big, man. Words are everything. And in the same way that words are big and how you have to watch what you say, I think words are big in the way we have to watch what we listen to. True. Right?
Yeah.
What we watch, what we're partaking, and that's music as well, right? Like not even off of your lips, not even off of your pen, out of what we listen to in the world. You know what I mean? Like it's impacting us in ways more than we truly know how. And that's a whole nother topic. For a whole nother day. But before we get out of here, man, I really appreciate you guys. I want you guys to shout yourselves out as well. Give out your social media. Give out y'all anything y'all got coming up, whatever. I'll start with you, KV.
All right. My name is KV. Instagram, call me KV. I'm a rapper, producer, creative. 1/3 of the group, always dominant zone.
You know, be a leader. My Instagram handle is at Richful Thinking, 2 I's in Rich, RICHFUL Thinking.
For sure. And they got some really good stuff going on. Like they got a lot of projects, and we'll put some links in the description and everything like that. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Right here, I got to put that right there. Don't forget to like. If you've been listening to this thus far, you should have already liked. But if you haven't, I got grace for you, my boy.
And congratulations on 50, man.
That's on 50,
man. Appreciate you guys, man. I thank you guys.
It's a milestone. That's a milestone.
I thank you guys. But before we get out of here, we got to go to my segment right now, and it's called Christian Dad Jokes.
Oh, my
Dad
Lord.
Jokes.
Let me hear one.
Dad Jokes. Brought to you by Good Reporters, featuring ADZ.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, let's get it, man. So I got to pull out the handy dandy phone for the 50th episode. Y'all know what it's doing. And I'm not going to lie. I was looking up the joke right here, and this joke said, we put the ha in hallelujah. That was the corniest thing I ever heard in my life.
That's kind of funny, though. It's so bad that it's kind of like.
That's like a dad joke in a dad joke. Put the ha in hallelujah.
That's terrible, man.
Yeah, I'll take it. But this joke right here, you guys know Adam and Eve, right?
Of course.
All right, this joke right here says, why did Adam and Eve do math every day?
I don't know.
I don't want to answer that because I'm going to feel like I'm going to be very wrong.
Yeah, me too.
Because they were told to be fruitful and multiply. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. Don't forget, man. Check out ADZ at their new thing that they're going to be doing, man.
Shout
out to y'all for coming out.
Shout out to Good Reporters. Thanks for having me.
Let's get it, man. Don't forget to be a good reporter because good reporters bring good news.
Hey.